burning crosses and against anybody.
Field is a retired welder in Bismarck. He says there was a lot of concern about whether refugees would strain local services like schools and hospitals.
It wasn't anything about trying to keep outsiders out. We just didn't want people dumped here.
Refugee advocates were at that meeting, too, trying to defend the program. Leah Hargrove is the executive director of the nonprofit Bismarck Global Neighbors, which helps new arrivals with integration.
I felt really frustrated with what I was hearing from the people sitting around me. Just things that aren't true, and they're not true anywhere in the United States.
For one, these refugees do not get free cars. They are not illegal immigrants. They are extensively vetted before they come to the U.S. And the costs don't all fall on the state or local community. The federal government does pay for some benefits. Still, Hargrove says she understands why there's concern.
It's wild, just the amount of diversity we've seen in North Dakota rapidly. And I think it's fair to acknowledge that there are increased costs and there are increased things you have to figure out. That's not different than the rest of the country's trying to figure out, though. It's just new for us.
That was in Bismarck, which has not seen a lot of immigration until recently. Across the state in Fargo, refugee resettlement has been going on for decades. And there's been pushback there, too.
To me, we should know what's going on. And the other thing is
Here's City Commissioner Dave Pepcorn talking to a local news outlet in 2021.
We have people making obligations for the taxpayers of Fargo. That's the bottom line.
For years, Pepcorn has been raising concerns about the costs of resettlement, even as studies have shown that refugees are an economic plus for their communities over the long run.
Refugees are not a burden. They're just looking for opportunity just like anybody else.
Yamal Day is a member of the Board of Education in Fargo. She was the first black woman to be elected to public office here, and possibly anywhere in North Dakota. Day was born in what is now South Sudan. She moved to Fargo for college 15 years ago and never left. Day thinks attitudes about immigration in her city are changing.
Once you get to know your neighbor, you get to know who they really are. We want to make sure that we support our kids. We want to see them succeed in life, just like any regular families in America or in the state of North Dakota in general. That's how I look at it.
Day hopes the whole state will look at it that way, too, because a lot more immigrants may be heading here, whether North Dakota is ready or not. Joel Rose, NPR News, Fargo.
This is NPR News.
WNYC is supported by Pace University. Pace is committed to helping people go further with programs in environmental law, finance, nursing, and the performing arts in New York City, Westchester County, and online. Learn more at gogetters.pace.edu.
New tools to fight discrimination in housing.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Charles Schwab. Schwab believes every investor deserves to work with a firm they can count on, with financial consultants ready to serve clients and 24/7 live help. And by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
I'm David Brancaccio. U.S. financial regulators have just made big changes to fair lending rules. The Federal Reserve, the FDIC, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency over the last day have all approved changes to the Community Reinvestment Act. Marketplace's Washington correspondent Nancy Marshall-Genzer joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
The Community Reinvestment Act, that's from 1977.
Yes, it is, David, and it was designed to stop the damage from redlining. For years, the federal government discouraged banks from offering mortgages to black borrowers, and there were even red lines drawn on maps around neighborhoods that banks were supposed to avoid. The Community Reinvestment Act required banks to serve the communities where they had physical branches, offering things like mortgages to everyone in those areas.
Yeah, I've seen those old maps with the red lines. So now what's intended to be a new and improved CRA, because banks don't just have physical branches now, right?
Exactly. So the new final rule includes the business banks do online. So we're talking about things like mobile lending. So now they'll be assessed on how well they serve low-income areas where they make a lot of mortgages and other loans, both in person and online.
And everybody loves all of this?
No, small and mid-sized banks are exempted from some of the new data requirements in the final rule, and the new rule mostly won't take effect until 2026. But some banks still say it'll be a burden and could discourage them from lending in some areas. And some community activists had wanted the new rule to explicitly incorporate race, which it does not.
Nancy, thank you for this. An hour and a half before markets open in earnest, S&P futures are down 0.25%. NASDAQ futures are down 0.5%, but Dow futures are up 86 or 0.25%. By the way, the markets will open in about 35 minutes. General Motors driverless car testing vehicles are now banned from California amid safety concerns by regulators. GM has several days to appeal the ruling. Regulators say the GM Cruise people failed to disclose full details of an incident where a driverless car dragged a pedestrian who had previously been struck by a separate hit-and-run driver. GM says driverless systems could eventually save lives. Boeing's third quarter results are in this morning. Not a profit, but a loss for the aircraft maker, a $1.6 billion one, which is actually an improvement. The stock is up 3.2% pre-market.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business. From small business to big enterprise and everything in between, Amazon Business helps simplify the supplies buying process. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks delivers what's next in cybersecurity innovation to protect today's digital way of life. Learn more at paloaltonetworks.com.